G'day, it's Miriam Smout, Aka Redemption Mumma. I help battle-weary women heal deep wounds, reclaim their personal power, and unlock God-given destiny. And I don't just help them do that, but I do that for myself on a very consistent basis. So this is day 6 of the Creating a Metacog series. There'll be 21 days in this series because a cycle of a neurocycle is about 21 days. So if you want to really lean into this and get all the goodness out of it, go to Dr. Caroline Leaf's app called the Neurocycle. That's what I use, and you'll get way more information. But this is really just you journeying with me. And if you want to do this with me, then just pause the videos when the steps come up to actually write and create your Metacog. So this is called Creating a Metacog. Creating a Metacog is a really powerful way of kind of like journaling and teasing out your thinking and getting to really get some clarity about what's going on. So you choose a toxic thought and you need to go back to day 1 and, do the journey just to be able to figure out how to find a toxic thought, what that process looks like. Then when you find your toxic thought, the thing that you need to work on, and it's really quite important to work on one at a time, particularly if you've got a really messy mind like me. Too many things to be working on actually only increases the mess, increases the frustration. So find that one thing. And if you're starting metacogging off just from the get-go now, you haven't done it before, then don't choose a really 10 out of 10 kind of thing. Maybe go for, a 5 or 6 or 7. So it's not putting too much stress and pressure on you. So my toxic thought that I've been working on is, why can't I say no to myself? Because I've put on about 5 kilos over the last 5 months or so. I don't know, it hasn't been that long of a time, but I'm curious as to what is going on, because I've been so disciplined, I've been so consistent over the last 7 years or so. So why am I now not living that disciplined way? What's going on? So something's obviously coming up. My actions are coming from feelings and thoughts that are triggering me to change my behavior, to be behaving in a way that I don't want to behave. And so for me, I know that comes from memories. It comes from something before the thought, before the feeling. So if you are finding that you're in this headspace where you're overthinking, you're not managing your emotions, which I feel I'm at right now with respect to this eating issue, then that's when it's time to pay attention, time to pay attention to what's going on. And so I'm at a bit of a critical point right now, because if I don't pay attention to this, I'm going to have to buy a whole new size of clothes, which when I brought my summer gear out, because we're just about into the summer, I thought, that's a big waste of money. Why am I doing that? Why am I actually even thinking like that? Because in fact, I'd rather be disciplined. I'd rather be healthy. I'd rather be at that weight that I was, which is just a much better healthy weight for me. So all that being said, is because metacogging is going to help me unpack what this memory, what this trigger is. So I'm pretty excited about today, because yesterday I came to this place of understanding that I was self-protecting. That came out in my metacogging in day 5. I'm self-protecting. What am I protecting myself from? And so I've been actually thinking a lot about this over the last day, and kind of anxious to get into this day, because I'm like, I really need to unpack. I really need to tease out why I'm self-protecting. So here we go. So today we start with the day and the date as usual, and the heading, which is toxic ruminations. That's when you're thinking your thought over and over and over and over. You're just ruminating and repeating it. Now I'm going to start gathering awareness. Have I been ruminating about this?
what are some of the now moments I've been having? What are some of the moments that I can catch myself thinking and rethinking over and over and over again? And so now moments are those really getting present moments, getting honest with yourself. What's actually been happening? Now I'm going to start processing, what's my response been to this ruminating? How has it been feeling? Well, it's been feeling frustrating, it's been feeling pointless, it's been feeling unproductive. So start to connect with some of the feelings that these toxic ruminations have meant for you. Then, is it wearing me out? Is it exhausting me? If it's unproductive, what is it? What impact is it having? And so, yeah, it is exhausting me. I keep telling myself not to dwell on this. I try to ignore it. So yes, it is definitely exhausting me. Then what are some of the physical and emotional warning signals that are coming up for me? These do work when I listen to them. I'm starting to sense some things, and I'm feeling some pain, and I'm feeling hunger. But what I actually realised as I started to Metacog this really blew me away. So let's have a look and see what that ended up looking like. So starting in the middle as usual, the toxic thought is, why can't I say no to myself? And for me, particularly related around this food issue. So my first arm is going to be my behaviours. Some of my behaviours have been eating rubbish, not eating disciplined, eating too much, eating the wrong thing, eating even though I know that I shouldn't be eating that stuff. So just getting out the behaviours that I see that have been related to this toxic issue. My next arm is going to be my emotions. How am I feeling? What's happening in my emotions with this? Well, I'm feeling frustrated, annoyed, I'm feeling shame, I'm feeling grief, I'm feeling confused, and I'm feeling anxious. There's a lot of emotions that when I sit and I really try my best to connect with them, they come up and I can feel them. All right, what are the warning signals? Firstly, the emotional ones. Well, I feel anxious that I'm stuck on this weight gain train again. I feel sad that I've let this discipline go. So these are some of the emotional warning things that are coming up repetitively for me. Next, what about the physical? What are some of the physical warning signs that I'm getting? Well, I've put on 5 kilos. That's a pretty big one. I feel heavier. I have some neck tension. I have some tummy bloating. These are all physical things that I'm feeling or sensing in relation to this issue. So get them all out, write them down. Next is getting perspective on this whole situation. And for me, the perspective is, 7 years I maintained my weight. 7 years I lived pretty disciplined. For 7 years I enjoyed that lifestyle. It wasn't a big deal walking past a pastry shop or a packet of chips. It wasn't a huge issue. And so the perspective for me now is, why am I letting this all go? Even though I know what I should be doing. Then the thing that really hit me was, I'm not really getting aware of the difference between being hungry and emotional pain. If I feel like I need comfort, I go straight to food. Now, this is mind-blowing for me. Oh my gosh, I actually have unpacked something massive here. So let's go to the origin story. What was happening back in the dark ages? Well, the things that came to memories, back to me, memories were food was withheld for punishment. Food was used as punishment. This did cause me pain. Sometimes I had to miss a meal and I would be hungry. And often I was just so hungry by dinner time, I was starving and I'd really eat so fast I didn't enjoy it. So, whether this was right or wrong, these are things that happened for me in my childhood that were memories that came back which are my origin story, the very beginnings of where this stuff happened. All right, now let's see if we can find some patterns and some triggers that were going on here. So definitely a pattern is that I'm eating for comfort, I'm eating to self-soothe, I'm eating to make myself feel better. So my eating habits have become all about my feelings, my emotions. Whoa, this is pretty revealing to me. So in my origin story, food was used for punishment. Food was used and it caused me a bit of pain because obviously I was being punished. And now I'm using food to comfort myself. Interesting. Let's see if there's any new thoughts that I can dig out of here. So these are the thoughts that I connected with. I feel pain and I interpret it as hunger. Food is a tool for healing pain. I tell you what, this is deep. This is really interesting for me and it's actually getting me a bit excited. Well, this is really huge for me. I can see that I have connected from my origin story, the connection of needing food to comfort myself. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Well, that was really, really interesting for me. When I connected with some past stuff of my childhood, it just blew up in terms of I actually don't know the difference between the pain of hunger and the pain of emotional pain. It's a little bit mind-blowing for me right now. I have to say this is really opening up something quite quickly. And I just want to say that I'm only on day 6. When I started neurocycling, sometimes it could take me a whole cycle to really connect to the depth like I am right now. But because I've been doing this, 5 years or so, obviously I'm getting there quite quickly. But I just say that because I don't want you to put pressure on yourself and think, why is it taking me so long? So be really patient, be really gracious. Don't knock yourself up and around because you're not getting there by day 6. So I have realized as I've metacogged today that I don't actually know the difference between the pain of hunger and the pain of emotional pain. And I'm starting to see that's possibly because food was used as a punishment. So for instance, if we needed to be punished for something, we would have food withheld from us. So I would be hungry. And I do remember, that my mother grew up on a farm. They had nothing. They ate off the land. If you didn't eat every little bit on your plate, that was the sort of life that it was for her. And so that's the way I was raised. You eat everything on your plate. So we didn't have the option of liking or not liking stuff. That was just not an option. And one of the ways that we would be disciplined is if we didn't eat everything on our plate, it would be served at the next meal and nothing new would be added. You just had to eat what was on your plate, and then it would be considered, well, do I give you more or not? So I'm remembering some of this stuff now. When it's just your normal childhood or just how life is for you, you're not thinking, gosh, how's that impacting me? As a child, what is it? What emotional struggles is this bringing to me? What confusion is it? What conflicts or what turmoil? You just live it. It's your life. You don't think about it. So I don't think I've ever thought about the fact that this way that food was used in my life to punish or to discipline could have caused me some confusion in terms of I don't actually know the difference between emotional pain when I feel some sort of emotional pain and hunger, because they're kind of like the same thing to me. If I feel emotional pain, then I just go to food, right? Because they're the same. They're the same. That's what I've got out of today. Emotional pain and the pain of hunger are the same. And actually, to be completely honest, how often do I feel the pain of hunger these days? I don't withhold food from myself. I don't treat myself the way that my childhood punishments were dished out. And yet, I still don't know the difference between the pain of hunger and my emotional pain. This is game-changing for me. This is like, oh my gosh, wow. So, today being a day where you learn to live in the now moment, the action that I'm going to work on today is living in the now moment of, am I hungry for food or am I hungry for comfort? That's my now moment. That's my action. 7 times today I'm going to put it in my phone. When I'm in the moment sometimes of actually putting food in, I'm not necessarily thinking, is this hunger or is this emotional pain or conflict? So that is my now moment for today, and that's big. This has been a really big day for me, and I'm pretty darn excited. So here's to my now moments for the day, and then actually unpacking some powerful stuff tomorrow. I'm getting excited. I think I'm onto something. So this is what metacogging does for me. This is what metacogging's all about. Really getting to the origin story, you know, that real truth, that real underlying reason why, the actual memory that's associated with your thinking, your feeling, and then your actions. Well, have a great day. Take care.